Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Kings Marriage and Relationship Podcast. I am Vincent King. This is my, see that smile, lovely wife, Mrs.
Shirley Walker King.
And we are here to talk all things marriage, relationships, and love.
LOVE. Because we are married. Which means we're in a relationship.
Yeah, we can just say that.
And I think we're still in love.
You think? Yeah, we are. She think. You know what I'm saying? Get it right. We're going to do an episode on that. Thank you.
We are still in love.
Better recognize.
For those who don't know, we have actually been married for 30 years and counting. That's why he's trying to poke out his little chest. Time on, she better know. Anyway, so yeah, 30 years and counting. We are relationship coaches. We are relationship facilitators. We are trained and certified through several different curriculums, and we like to share our path to a successful marriage of 30 years and counting.
Yeah.
No separations.
No separations.
Well, no legal long-term separations.
Right. Same household, except when I was deployed.
Same household, except when he was deployed.
Yeah.
What else? Don't really throw up the divorce word because, you know, if you throw up the D word, that's serious business. Yeah. We don't play like that. We've been through coaching, counseling. We've been on both sides of the arrow here.
Yeah, we did some coaching. We've been through some counseling. Hey, you know.
Yeah, we're not perfect. We've had our marriage ups and downs, and that's why we're here, because we like to share what we've gone through to help other people have successful marriages such as ours, even more successful, if that's what you want to call it. Do you, do us. Do you, not us, because we don't do us. But yeah, so as you know, that's who we are, the Kings, and that's why the podcast is called Ask the Kings Marriage and Relationship Podcast.
That is correct. On this episode, we're going to talk about some things that are going on right now, sharing tips and exploring parenting, your parenting skills. So we're going to kind of get into that. It might get a little ugly. So don't get
we're going to step on some toes. Yeah. You might feel like you've been called out a couple of times, but it's okay. We've been there. There's no perfect parent, just as there's no perfect child.
Yeah. You gotta, whatever works for you. Whatever your mom and dad did, you're gonna take some of the things that they did, and you're not gonna use some of the things they did. So you're gonna incorporate all of that.
Yeah. And what we're doing is we have actually taught parenting classes. We have taught at churches, nonprofit organizations, for school districts, ISDs. We've had different parenting
group homes for girls.
Group homes for girls. The topics that we have chosen, or some of our topics have been, parenting is your right and it's your responsibility. We'll get to that. Parenting, being involved, and raising I can children. So those are just some of the workshops we've done for this topic with parenting. So what we've decided to do is bring those workshop tips, strategies, and tools to our podcast to help share with whomever is watching now.
Yeah, and as a parent, it's really your job, to keep your child safe in a safe environment. So that's your number one goal, I think, is to keep your child safe. Make sure they, and again, I'm sure some things are out of your control. When they go to school, when they go do other things happen.
Yeah, but your priority, like he's saying, is the health and safety, well-being of the child, physically, physiologically, and mentally, spiritually too. Let's go ahead and add that in there. Boom, boom.
Yeah. And just keeping their needs, you want their basic needs. You want to make sure their basic needs are met. So roof over the head, provide for them financially. So I think that's your your goal, your job as well as a parent.
Food, shelter, education, health, basic needs.
Yeah, just financially supporting them. So as they get older, I think that never, unless they become millionaires, I think they're going to always be in your pocket. But you're going to always spend money on your kids. No matter what the situation is.
That's the circle of life, because at some point they may be also assisting and helping you in your well-being as well. But that's a part of parenting, is you are financially responsible for them until they are of legal age. So yeah, you may not like it, but guess what? As the kids say, I didn't ask to be here. So you did what you did, and now they're here, so you are financially responsible for them until they are able to take care of themselves. And each culture is different. That's a whole nother thing. But we lived overseas in Italy, and each culture is different with what they feel is a legal age for a child. Like some cultures, you turn 18 and you out, you got to go. And then there are other cultures who are, they're like, no, you're here until you are able to be on your own.
Right.
And that's, helping them through their education, helping them through them getting, finding a career or doing whatever it is that they're going to financially support themselves to. Yeah. And even if that's transitioning to their own home, that's, what parents are there to do and help them until they can get on their own feet. But, everybody's different. If 18 is your cutoff, that's your cutoff. I just hope that child is mature enough and ready.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with that. A lot of people here, they 17, they got to go. Like, your kid, are they mentally ready? You know what I mean? I left right after high school and went to the military. So, that was my foundation. But I don't know. Was I really ready to just leave? I don't know. Does my mom know? I don't know. But it's not like she was kicking me out of the house.
Right,
Some people are like, after high school, you got to go. I don't care what it is, military, college, go work, you got to go. So, I don't agree with that philosophy.
Yeah, and we're in a similar situation whereas when I turned 18, my mother left. She actually moved to Texas. We were in California where I went to high school and everything, and she moved to Texas to help get my brother together and keep him mentally, physically, and safe. So she actually left me. She did leave me a nice foundation where I had, a place to stay and everything, but I was pretty much on my own. And as you said earlier, do I feel like I was ready? No. Right. I probably could have used some more guidance, some more protection to help me do some of the things I wanted to do, because living on your own and trying to go to school and trying to work, all that's very challenging and difficult. And I don't falter for it because it's made me who I am. Yeah. But I'm saying, looking back on things, I think if I would have had more time to grow into adulthood, there would have just been some things that I probably would have accomplished a lot sooner.
Yeah, probably like me and me. I'll say, you got a daddy in your life?
No, don't you ever. Ever.
You got a daddy in your life, come let me talk to you. So, like we were saying, you see
perverted. I can't stand
I wasn't being perverted, guys. I'm just saying.
But that is a perverted phrase for older men.
But they do say that.
Yeah, you got a daddy in your life, and that's why we've taught our daughter. Yeah, hell yeah, she got a daddy in her damn life.
Yeah. And I say that jokingly because you guys know my daughter. She does a lot of not social media, but she's
in the entertainment business,
and she interviewed a particular celebrity, and that's what he said. Hey, you got your daddy in your life. Like, what, bro?
Let's say correct it though. He didn't say that to her. He said that to one of her friends, in which he was covering an event with her. Okay. If she had a daddy in her life, and both of them felt like, ooh, you are a nasty, perverted old man. We're not going to say who he is. But ooh-wee, one day there's going to be a book. But yeah, that is something that I despise.
You drinking over there?
Yeah, he made me have to take a drink.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about different parenting styles, different types of parenting styles.
And there's 4 major parenting styles that we'll talk about tonight.
Right. First one is authoritarian and strict. Second is authoritative and permissive. The third is overbearing and like a helicopter. And uninvolved and neglected.
It's number 4.
And on that authoritarian, man, I get tongue twisted. Say that fast. Authoritarian and strict. Once we go through these, I got a little touch of both of these.
Okay.
of this
and
person.
that's normal.
Yeah.
There's not one thing in a box.
Yeah.
There may be certain areas, and with certain kids, that you may have to be more with one than the other. So that's okay.
So, yeah,
so if you
everybody's
don't fit
different,
this box, that's okay, because you need to pull from what worked for you and what works for you. And some of us are pulling from what worked as we were children with our parents, because 90% of your parenting style comes from how you were raised as a child.
Your parents, your uncles, or whoever.
Yeah, those were your examples.
Right.
So you may have not liked authoritarian. Hey, mama. And strict.
Do what I
hey,
say
mama. So you may use a little bit of that and pull from the rest, which we'll go into a little more detail. But yeah, so back to authoritarian, they are the strict ones.
Yeah, and they have high expectations on their kids, like with no input. It's just, this is it. You know what I mean? Just what I say, do.
Do as I say,
that's it,
not as I do.
Yeah.
I know if you over 40, you've heard that.
Yes, and with our daughter, we gave her a voice, so we didn't just say, this is what I said, shut up, and that's it. We always gave her a voice. And also, they focus more on obedience, discipline. Me with the little military, not the military, I always say military, with the military background, I kind of fall into that category somewhat. Again, with the control, do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, so that's why I think I kind of fall in that category. Authoritarian, a little more strict. Some things I just expect. Military, you get up, you gotta make your bed. So that's kind of those things I always kind of expected. From her when she didn't do it, I kind of got on her. My wife was a little less strict on those things. But it's like, hey, once you get up, tighten your bed up, get your bed together, and get ready for your day. Don't just leave it. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's kind of like you've heard the saying, good cop, good parent, bad parent. It's not even about being good or bad. It's about what works for you guys. So, yes, you may have to have somebody who's more strict and more authoritarian. And then you may have to have times where you have the number 2 parenting style, which is more my parenting style, which is authoritative and permissive. Authoritative parents have rules. We have rules. And we have consequences. We typically keep the children involved in those rules and consequences. For example, Valencia can tell you, and she may step in and say something. I hope she does. She will tell you she had input in all of her disciplinary actions. Because my thing is, you thought enough to go out and be disruptive. So you're going to think enough about what we're going to do to fix it.
True.
Why are you making me make all these decisions based off of your actions? So if you were the one who wanted to miss a tutorial class and now you may have not passed the class, so what are we going to do about this? How are we going to fix this? This is going to be a two-way conversation. This is not a prison. This is not a jail cell or a sentence. I am not judge and jury. I am here to help put you on the path to success. And so I always felt like I want your input because, again, it was your action that you did that is now making me have to go to the Library of Parenting 101 or 102 and figure out how we're going to fix this. And I'm not going to do that on my own. You go sit up here and we're going to decide this together. And if you come up short, you ain't going to like it.
But to me, it's just the little things. Like, it's starting off with those basic little things. Making up your bed. Those are like little things. If you can't do the little things, then you got a much bigger fish to fry. But we want to start off. That's my thinking. You start off with those little things first. But anyway.
And again, you have to decide what works for you and your household and your kids, because one style may not work for all the children. You really have to decide what is going to work for your kids. So we're not trying to tell you which one is right and which one is wrong. We're just basically saying that you have to decide what's going to work best for your child and in that situation, because each situation may be different. But going back to number 2, so authoritative and permissive parents tend to be rules based on consequences, based on rules.
Yeah.
We also choose to discipline with a learning experience in mind, if you will.
Yeah, I mean punishment instead of discipline. They want to administer punishment instead of instead of discipline.
Yeah, because we like to let you know what you've done wrong and what you've done right. And parenting is not all about boom, 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 negative, negative, negative. You also have to uplift your children and your kids. You also have to build their self-esteem. You also have to build their awareness. So that means that you have to give them praise. You have to give them rewards when they do things positively. It's not all about negative. Parenting is not all about negative. You have to figure out how to balance it. Now, I'm not one of those parents who believes that everybody gets a trophy for participation. Nope. You lost.
You lost.
You're a loser.
Do better.
If you don't want to be in the loser standpoint again, learn how to win.
Yeah, that's discipline right there. So, hey, you got to figure it out. Okay, I need to do this, work a little harder. Yeah, I'm with her on that one. Yeah, I don't think everybody should get a trophy.
I may be a little more authoritative and permissive, as they call that parenting style, but I also believe in that rules like, you know what, this happened, now this is a result.
Yeah.
You won, let's celebrate. You lost, step your game up.
Yeah, and I also think like kids of authoritarian parents, they're at a higher risk excuse me, of having self-esteem issues. Excuse me, y'all. I think I need some wine, not water.
Oh, yeah, there's wine in here, baby.
Yeah, so I think they have higher issues of self-esteem because, again, their opinion is not valued. It's do what I say do.
And so, what can you really learn from do what I say do, or do as I say, not as I do? What can you really learn from that except that it's either wrong or right, and there's no in between, and that's not life. There's always in between. So
I mean, it's not. Again, you got to look at the times. It's not how when we grew up.
Right.
It's totally different. Like you said, you want to put them on punishment. Go in your room. You better be checking in on your kids.
Yes.
This ain't about going there and shut the door and staying there for 2 days. Nah. So it's totally different from when we grew up. You know, so you better not slam a door, but now you need to be checking in.
You need to be checking
making sure
in.
they're okay. You know, although, there's going to be some consequences of whatever you're doing, or you're going to be on punishment, but no, ain't no locking yourself in a room for 3 days.
I take that damn door down. I've done it.
Yeah.
I know all passwords to social media platforms because you don't pay for the internet, you didn't pay for the phone, you didn't pay for the computer. I wish you would tell me something belongs to you that my hard-earned money paid for. We gonna have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Lie to me if you want to and see what happens. I always told Valencia, be honest with me and let's figure it out together. If you lie to me, you put me at a disadvantage and we cannot rectify the situation, so it's going to be a lesson learned versus completely wrong. So that was my biggest thing is don't lie to me. Be upfront. We'll figure it out. As long as a life is not lost, we can fix this. And there may be a learning lesson in there for you and some other people, and we'll get to that. But let's be truthful and honest up front so that we can address the situation the correct way. And like my mother used to always say, don't have me going up in there looking stupid because you done lied to me because I'm whooping that ass. I'm back.
Like that. Yeah.
Just
Number 3 is overbearing helicopter effect. And this is a parent who wants to control like every aspect of their kids' lives. You know, and again, when you're little, but you have to give them a little say-so, I think. They just want to control everything, just, what do you call it, micromanage?
Yeah, I would say that they're micromanaged. And, actually, this one is one where people would assume was my parenting style. They always felt like I was overbearing or helicopter parent to Valencia. But if you really knew the inside, you know that Valencia made most of all of her decisions. Because like I just said from number 2, I believe in it's a two-way conversation. Just because I was involved and your ass wasn't involved with your kids' family and your kids you want to sit up here and talk about somebody as a helicopter parent. Where your child at now? On the pole? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, oh boy. It's a little touchy subject for her, y'all. Y'all just deal with this. Calm down. Oh, my goodness.
Stay out of my household when you don't know what the hell going on in yours. But I'm just saying, from a political and PC correction, helicopter parents do tend to want to control everything that their kids do. Helicopter parents are also parents who feel like their child does no wrong.
Right.
Their child, the world operates around their child, and that was definitely not me. So yeah, I had to take a breath every now and again from people who would want to try and point fingers and place judges. You can see, yeah, I wouldn't say it got under my skin, because my thing was, I know what we do in our household, and I know how we were raising our daughter. And I know how we were involved in her life to help her make decisions, but not make decisions for her.
Yeah.
So there was no helicopter. Yeah. I may have been the pilot, you know.
I mean, everybody thinks their kid is innocent or whatever, but you should know your kid. But you always want to take the side of your kid, but you ought to, you know, kind of assess the situation and don't just jump to conclusion. When, say, somebody come to you, another parent come to you, don't get offended.
Right.
Just see what's going on.
Right.
And that's all it is, you know. Yeah.
And we've had that situation. And y'all don't understand how thankful we were when Valencia graduated high school. Because of all the drama and the mess that came with her being in high school. It was ridiculous. I'm still going to write a book about that. But there was a situation where she was in high school, and I think she was a sophomore. And one of the teachers at Rowlett High School tried to hook my daughter up on a date when she was 15.
With somebody who was out of high school.
With somebody who had graduated the previous year, and this young man was 19 years old, who should have been on a field trip in the first place.
Right.
But she tried to introduce Valencia, say he liked her, she liked him. And so there was, you know, when everything was said and done, and Valencia told us about it, and I approached the school and explained to the school what was going on, even the principal and the assistant principal immediately said, that's not in Valencia's character.
Right.
Now, they're not saying that they weren't hearing the teacher's side and what the teacher had to say, but what they said before I even could get into a true group meeting, both of them said, from what we know of Valencia, that is not her character. But because we raised her with a strong foundation and to be honest and truthful about things that would happen, and let's just deal with the consequences, her character couldn't be diminished. It spoke for itself. And that says her parents spoke for themselves. But yeah, so those are situations where, again, you have to instill strong characteristics in your kids, but that comes from you being involved in their life. Yeah. Which brings us to
uplifting, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Which brings us to number 4. And number 4 is uninvolved and neglectful parenting.
Uninvolved and neglectful. That speaks for itself as well. You just let your kids fend for themselves. Just, you know, no discipline in there. You just kind of let them run wild and just think they're going to figure it out. You think you can figure it out at, you know, a teenager without any guidance? I mean, now that ain't going to work. It's going to be some trouble. We've all had situations, and again, even with my upbringing in high school back in Cleveland, I've had guys in school that approached me with drugs. Hey, trying to suck me in. You sell this, you can keep the money. Who wouldn't jump on that? Oh, I can go sell this, and I can keep the money? That sounds like a win-win. But
win-win till you hear them chains.
Yeah, but literally, and this is somebody I really looked up to, this dude. He was a senior. But I'm like, that didn't sound like nothing I wanted to get into. You know what I mean? So it's just having that foundation. I knew doggone well that is not nothing I want to do. And, you know, being behind nobody's bars.
Yeah, and those parents who fall in that category need to realize that there are resources out there for you. We're not saying that everybody's perfect, because you didn't have a perfect childhood. That means that you're not even starting off with having a strong foundation on how to be a parent. But there are programs out there, the YMCA, YWCA, your school. You can go to these places and say you need help without being in the radar, being put in the system. It's better to go and ask for that help and guidance before you get put in the system. That's what we're trying to get to, the point where parents are taking back control of their household and saying, I'm in charge, and what I don't know, I am willing to learn.
Yeah. And even being neglected, and I think that's going to also affect your social life, you're going to kind of have hard times forming close relationships. So I think all of that, being uninvolved and neglected, it's not going to be good for you. You know what I mean? So you're going to be just socially awkward, I would say.
Yeah, so I don't know if any of those 4 parenting styles ring a bell to you. Are you one of those parents in that parenting style? And if so, and you like it, then great. And if so, and you don't like it, then what are you willing to do about it? How are you willing to educate yourself, get the training that you may need so that you can help bring up a child in a better foundation, with a better foundation than what you had. Just because you went through it don't mean that they have to go through it. Ask for help. There are resources out there. At the end of the video, I will also put some contact information so that if you need help with parenting, these organizations are out there to help you.
And even if you're just super busy, you know what I mean, there are things that get your kid involved in. Because most of the time, if you're a single parent or even mother and father, everybody's working, trying to make ends meet, and kind of unintentionally, your kid is left to kind of fend for themselves. You know what I mean? And
bored kids find trouble.
Yeah, it's out there.
You best believe that one.
It's definitely out there for you. So you need to really take a step back, man, and just, look in the mirror and just look at what's going on in your kids' lives. Because the wolves out there. It's out there. There's all kind of trouble out there. Even if they're not looking for it, it's out there. So, we definitely think you ought to, whatever it is you need to do, you need to take them up to Bass Pro Shop, get them into some fishing. They got, you got your uncles. If they don't have a man in their life, if you're not married, get one of your uncles, cousin, talk to your neighbor. I'm sure some kids around the neighborhood go fishing. You just need to get your kid involved in something.
Yeah, and there's after-school programs and school programs that are free or don't cost much, and if you want to put them in something and can't afford the equipment, talk to someone. There are people and organizations out there who want to sponsor kids into doing something, but you have to let them know where you need the help at. There's nothing wrong with saying I need help. There's nothing wrong with saying I need help. There is nothing wrong with saying I need help with marriage, parenting, finances, life. There's organizations out here just for that. We're here just for that, to try and help people who feel like they need help in these areas.
Yeah, school counselors. Somebody has some information for you. You just got to open your mouth. They say closed mouth on your
Don't get fed.
We back, y'all. Let's go pat her forehead and get a little cold water on her.
Pat your weed face. Oh, this is braids. Pat your okay.
And I know we've been speaking about our daughter, how we raised her. We think we've raised our daughter to be a self-thinker, a critical thinker.
Very much. She's very analytical.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that's very, very important. So I think you guys should really boost your kid's self-esteem. Whatever that is, for your daughter. I have a daughter, so bring her flowers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She is pretty, but I tell her she looks pretty. Girl, you working? I see them in them jeans. I'm very silly. She always called me a kid at heart, but I think it's very important to boost your kid's self-esteem. If you have a young man, take him out. You guys get dressed up and you guys go do something together. You just got to boost their self-esteem up.
Oh, I agree 100%. And I also think that it's very important to ask your child how you're doing as a parent. Mm-hmm. We act like there's something wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, especially in the different stages of their life. Mm-hmm. When they're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you have to parent. But when they get to the teenage years, the 12, 13, 14, you can even ask them, let's have a sit down.
Right.
You're about to transition into junior high school or high school. And I always ask Valencia, what's one thing that you like that we did as a parent? What's one thing that you would like us to continue doing as a parent? And what's one thing that you would like us to stop doing as a parent? And I remember one time she said, the thing that I like, the thing that I want you to stop, and the thing that I want you to continue is the same thing. And that was, we weren't afraid to repeat what we said and what we meant. So she said, as much as I got tired of hearing it, I needed to hear it sometimes again and again because there's so many distractions in the world.
Okay.
So the one thing that she hated as far as us is she's like, you always say this. She said, but it's also the same thing that I need to hear because it reminds me what is expected of me and why it's expected of me. So again, get your kids involved. Inquire with them, what would you like us to do for you at this stage of your life? How does parenting look like from your standpoint at this stage of your life?
Yeah.
Do you want me to still be in control and telling you what to do and how to do it, when to do it, where to do it?
Yeah.
And if they say no, then step up. Be responsible.
Yeah.
Take responsibility for your actions. And then I don't have to tell you what to do, when to do, how to do it, and where to do it. Because I know you're going to do it.
Right.
So as a parent, that really means you have to ask questions and not be afraid to sit down and talk to your child. Why y'all scared of y'all kids?
That's your babies, right? You raised them. You brought them into the world.
And
you do
I'll
well.
take you out.
And also, just if your kids are being good, we have a young man. Well, they're grown now, but we've been here since 03. You know, he's very respectful young man to stay across the street from us. His parents still stay there. Always Mr. King, this and that, just real respectful. So when I saw his parents, I told them, hey, you guys doing a good job raising him. He's always respectful. So I'm sure, because if it was something bad, I'm sure they would have relayed that to him. You know what I mean? So I'm sure they told him, hey, you know, Mr. King, you know, really appreciate you being. So whatever, that's a little pat on the back for them. So, you know, give your kids some praise when they doing good. You know?
Shout out to Vontae.
Yeah, Vontae. And be consistent. Set limits on your discipline, whatever that is. You know, be consistent with it. What's your name on that?
Oh no, you have to be consistent because if you're not, then the kids will pick up on that and they're going to play the parents against each other. We've all been there, done that.
Yeah.
They know when to go and ask mommy for something, when to go and ask daddy for something, because they know depending on somebody's mood, which answer they're going to get.
Yeah.
So you always have to have a united front. We in this together. We're in this together, but what we say right here is going to get to that pinpoint. So you have to be in agreement with your spouse or your significant other on parenting, even if you're divorced. Yeah. You still have to communicate with each other and be on the same page. They are looking at everything you say and do, and they will use it against you in the court of your household. So be consistent with how you discipline and teach your kids what's right and what's wrong in your eyes. Yeah,
and also I would say definitely make time. Make time for your kids. And even at this stage of life, you're working. And my daughter tries to make time. She'll be like, hey, what are you doing today? You know, she'll come up and try to eat lunch with me. You know, I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. I gotta be like, wait a minute, you know. I can take 30 minutes. Just go sit down and eat lunch, you know. So just try to make time for your kids. You know, they're not going to be in the house with you forever.
Right.
Or, you know, again, you don't know what's going to happen the next day.
Right.
So you got to think about those little things.
And be flexible. Because again, there's no real rule book to parenting because each child is different as each parent is different, which means each page in that book is different and may not work for you and yours. So you have to be willing to be flexible and adjustable, especially in this day and time. You have to know what works for your child. If they violate a home policy or rule or something like that, you have to know what disciplinary action to take. If it's, social media, then it's social media. If it's, doing extra chores, then it's doing extra chores. But I would tell parents to not be so drastic and go to a spanking or ass whooping every time. Because that's not teaching them the lesson in between.
Right. Although we got that. We
got our asses whipped.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about taking my mother to court and filing charges against her. Because I think I still got some stitching cord whips on my legs. Y'all think those stretch marks. No, those come from stitching cords. Hey, Mama. Y'all know Shirley didn't play. But I didn't get the most whoopings. That went to Tracy. Shout out Tracy. And then Nick was in a strong second. I'm the negotiator. We're going to talk about this. The same way that I parent Valencia is the way that I wish my mom would have parented me and what I did with her. I talked. We talked. I wrote notes. I wrote letters. We were going to have a conversation. Now, in the end, sometimes I got that ass whooped. But I felt like I was heard. So.
And see, we focus all ours on one. So, of course, if you have 2, 3, 4, all your kids are going to be different personalities.
Yes.
So that's a whole nother thing right there.
Again, you have to know what works for each child.
Yeah.
You are going to have to learn your children's culture, character, and behaviors so that you can address any situation accordingly. Because you always have to remember, you are the parent. Yeah. You are the adult. Right. You pay the rent. You pay the bills. And the court of humans says you're responsible for them and their actions. So as long as, like I would tell Valencia, I'm responsible for your actions. Like my mother used to say, don't go out there and make me look like a fool.
Yeah. Because nowadays if they do something crazy, who they coming to get? You, me and her. So yeah, you are ultimately responsible.
And there's no shame in game in getting in your kids' business. Get all up in their business. Find out what's going on in their life, because there's so many things going on in this world with these distractions. These babies need you to ask them questions. Right. How are you feeling? Why are you feeling that way? What can I do to help you through this process? I understand that this situation happened at a school and is very stressful and nervous. Yeah. You guys have to have those heavy, dark conversations that we didn't necessarily have to have. Don't be afraid to have them and make them people at that school do their damn job. Go to the counselors, ask for help, ask for guidance. That's what they have. They have it in the budget. Trust me, I've been on the school board. So make them do their job. My child needs additional help or counseling getting through this process. What are we going to do? Because this is a team effort, right? This is a village. This is a community. Yeah. So let's community then.
Let's community. We're going to wrap it up, y'all, because she going on.
I'm back.
This is real talk here. But just wrapping it up, like we said, bored kids are likely to misbehave. So you need to keep them doing something. Their mind need to be wrapped around something positive. Because if they're bored, they're going to find something to get into. Yeah,
speaking of positive, you want to keep a positive environment, learning environment for them.
Creative disciplinary strategies. Creative. Not like you said, not just a spanking, just not a whooping. You know what your kid likes. They like to play that game. We're going to take that away for some days or weeks. What you got to be creative with it. I'd rather just take a whooping if I can do all my other stuff. Yeah, just give me a whooping.
That'd be the last thing I
do
too.
Yeah,
we're going to write a poetry book.
Yeah. You give me a choice, I'll take that little minute, whooping with that belt, cry a little bit. If I can do all my other stuff. I can go to my party. Yeah, I'll take the whooping.
No, we're gonna go to the park and volunteer to walk some cats.
Cats.
We're gonna go to the grocery store, and anybody coming out of that grocery store with a Walmart basket, you're gonna ask them if you can help them take their groceries to the car because you have misbehaved, and now you have to do community service within your own household.
In your own community.
In your own community.
Yeah.
You're going to go to your grandparents' house and make sure that everything is tight, needy, and neat for them, from the yard work to the laundry. I don't care if you clean their dentures. Oh, I'm going to get real creative. Yeah. You're going to pay me so that I don't have to come out of my pocket for your discretions. So I'm going to give you the allowance. Let's say it's $100 a week. You only going to see $2 out of that. Mess with me again.
I won't jump this. You know what? This shows some love and affection.
Please.
Love and affection, y'all. Again, this is a different time, different era. We don't want you to be too much on the neck. You have to check on your kids and make sure they're doing okay. Because there's so much going on TV, at school. My daughter, she doesn't even like watching the news because I think 85% is negativity. Yeah. So she doesn't even look at that stuff. So it's like you have to make sure they're in the right, their mind space. So you need to be checking on them, make sure they're okay.
And with that, check on yourself too.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at how you take care of yourself to know how they're going to take care of themselves. So do a wellness check on yourself and your kids, and let them know if you're not in a good space. For example, ladies, if it's that time of the month, you might want to let your kids know ahead of time. Look here now. Next week not going to be a good one. I'd advise you to do all your assignments and don't have me getting them phone calls. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, take care of yourself. And actually, last week, I might have told you this, coworker, I don't know, he said, King, you all right? But it was just like he noticed, like, I wasn't how I usually am. So I had to, snap out of it. So whatever I was on my mind, I was, he can tell, like, hey, King not himself today. You know what I mean? So you have to take a step back and make sure you're doing okay. Yeah.
And set realistic expectations for everybody.
Yeah.
I can't expect Vincent to take on all the disciplinary actions in the household, just like he couldn't expect me to take on all the disciplinary action in the household. I didn't want him to always be the bad guy. He didn't want me to always be the bad guy. We balanced it out. Y'all know this is a connection, and y'all know them kids are just sitting up there playing games. So y'all need to be ready for when and if they come to y'all with them little silly games, trying to put you against each other. Don't let them do that. I'm just saying. Okay. But setting realistic expectations. If you don't have a A student, don't expect your child to bring in straight A's.
Right.
Realistic expectations. If you don't have the star basketball player, don't expect your child to be a starter on the team and then want to talk about them. Realistic expectations. If you are a single parent, don't set your child up to make them feel like you are going to make every single event, because you can't. Let them know, because I have to work and do this. I may not make all of your basketball games, but how many do you guys have for the season? You have 17 games. Mommy promises to try and make 5 of them at a minimum. Right. I will aim for 10, but I guarantee you I can make 5. That's not hard. Negotiation 101. Talk to them.
That's a good one right there. Also, teach them stress management.
Woo!
How to woo-side. You might need to go talk to somebody.
But don't give them no why.
Don't give them no why. I mean, they're stressed out just like you are. So whatever that is, if you guys need to sit down and talk, well, you should do that probably weekly, and just see what's on their mind. Like she was saying earlier, you have to talk to them. They just letting it build up, or they're gonna talk to somebody else. So you rather them talk to you, they need to talk to their grandmama, whoever. You need to get them to someone to let it out, whatever that is. It might not be anything, but there's so much going on. There's something that's on their mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have to find out how to pull it out. And as Vincent was saying, there's so much going on in the world. You have to teach them relationship and life skills. You have to teach them how to put those damn cell phones down and make eye contact with somebody.
Right.
Make eye contact with somebody
Yeah.
and have a whole conversation.
Yeah.
What do you know about that? That's relationship and life skills. They are going to learn by example. At dinner time, I know it's not realistic for everybody to say, oh, we always have dinner together at the table. No, we didn't. We may have always had dinner together in the living room with our little table trays and watching the news or watching a TV show. And then we say you can't pick up phones unless it's a commercial. Like, make arrangements. You know what works for you guys. You may not be able to say put the phone down for the whole hour of dinner or whatever, but say, you know what, you can only pick the phone up during commercials because we're going to sit here and watch this show together. Yeah. Exceptions
But
to
see,
the rules.
that's her. Now, me, I would have been like, nah. But again, she kind of give a little bit. That's me. I'm like, nah, you don't even mess with that thing the whole time we eat. Whatever works for you.
Right, whatever works for you, and you have to be willing to make exceptions to the rules and have that conversation. Again, cell phones weren't new, because Valencia was the age, so they had cell phones. But no, we didn't have the cell phone.
Yeah, I think
out.
it was pagers then, but that wasn't.
No, that was us.
Us, right?
Yeah,
right.
she had cell phones.
Yeah.
But no, you didn't have cell phones while we were having dinner.
Right.
I'm using that example for someone else whose family is already out there,
Yeah.
and they could never get the cell phone out of their hands. You have to start somewhere.
True.
So then you have to say that you have to put that down while we're actually eating and only pick up during commercials. Still, you're getting something, you know, because it may not always be dun, dun, dun. You may have to reel them in slowly but surely.
Yeah.
You remember what it was like when we went to camp with Valencia and they took the cell phones away on the third day?
Yeah, that was, we went to, some of you guys might be familiar, Young Life.
Yeah,
we went to somewhere in Georgia, outside of Atlanta, and it's actually a Christian-based camp. So when you get there, they were playing. They were playing
Christian music on day one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, they weren't. I don't think they were playing Christian. They switched.
They switched it. Okay.
They were playing just regular music, but then eventually the kids. There's so many activities, and we were chaperoning the kids. Probably the third day, there was strictly Christian music. They're like, you didn't even recognize it, you know. So it just gradually changed the tempo, changed the music.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just playing Christian music the whole time. We just got the kids involved and praying, and it was amazing to me just to see that.
Oh yeah, chaperone parents over 560 kids, and we rode the bus with them, didn't we?
Yeah, we rode. Yeah, we rode there from Dallas to again. That was a long bus ride. Probably an hour outside of Atlanta, somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But again, we were involved parents, and you have to do what you have to do to get involved in some form or fashion. So those were the wrap-ups that we said, it's your responsibility to provide safety mentally, physically, and emotionally for your kids. We went over the 4 different type of parenting styles. Pick, you know which one is yours, and it's okay to pick from each one to make your style work. You have to do what's best for you.
Yeah, everybody's different, so you just got to find the fit. It's just really that simple. You can't treat all your kids the same. They all have different personalities. You're going to have to find out what works and check on yourself.
Check on yourself. And with that said, we want to thank you guys for allowing us to come into your space today with our Ask the Kings Marriage and Relationship podcast.
Yes.
As always, follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagrams, YouTube channel, Ask the Kings, hashtag Ask the Kings Pod, P-O-D, if you want to find us there. Cash App is Ask the Kings. And we'll be coming up with some new episodes. This one, it was actually sent to us to talk about parenting, and we said we're not too far removed from parenting, so we decided to do this one. So
appreciate you guys tuning in, and as always, we leave you with this:
marriage and relationships are what you make it.
So don't forget to put in that work.
Put in that work.